You were the one that told me about the fun fact of 86, right? You know what 86 stands for, right?
86 what?
You know where the term 86
I don't think that's me, so
okay,
let's
so
hear
I'm going
it.
to tell you the term 86 came from here because if you're getting 86 from a bar or property, it means we're taking you 8 miles out and 6 feet under. It's a mafia term called 86.
Sweet Derek, are we live?
We are live, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the Naturals Pod.
Welcome to this episode of the Naturals Pod. As always, I'm Uncle Kyle. Seated on the other end of the couch in the head-to-toe North Carolina / Spider-Man drip, Sweet Derek, the producer.
What up, Natties? Let's go.
Today we have a very special guest, cryptocurrency enthusiast, entrepreneur, and fellow union electrician. Welcome to the show, Taelor Singh.
What's up, Natties?
What up?
Yeah.
Fellow Natty watches the show as well.
Yeah.
We love you all. So, Taelor, give us a little bit of your history, because you are a native Las Vegan like myself, correct? Or practically, right?
Practically, yeah. I wasn't born here, but born in San Jose, California, but been here since '89.
Shout out San Jose. Derek is also from the same area.
Yeah, Santa Clara, dude.
Parents moved me here when I was 6. At the time, it was a family of 7 kids, all the same mom and dad. Had one more when we moved here. 8 kids total. Grew up east side of Las Vegas, went to El Dorado High School.
East side. For all my Vegas people, they know El Dorado is like one of the OG Vegas high schools.
Vegas high schools up there on the mountain, toward the mountain. When I was about, 23, 4-ish, got an apprenticeship, started working toward becoming an electrician, got accepted, and then 5-year training, just like you. And Kyle and I worked on the same job out at Nellis.
Yes, Marcel, we did. Yes,
episode,
we did.
I watched the episode with Marcel and them talking about that, and got some stories with Marcel myself. So
we might have to get into those, because that was definitely a fun one to talk about. Old nutty Marcel. Now, I don't know if your experience was similar, but I haven't really talked about this on the pod. When you're getting into one of the union trades, this might be different in different areas of the country, but here in Vegas, there are a ton of people that apply for it. I'm pretty sure that there was like 1,500 applicants during the period that I was applying.
Yeah, and us, it was a lot more. I think it was more like 3. They were telling us 3,000 to 4,000 at that time.
Yeah.
So to get in, it was like, man, it was lucky.
That's gnarly.
Or you were one of the best that qualified.
That shit. That's crazy.
In fact, I didn't get in my first time. I did the pre-apprenticeship. They didn't have it by the time you came around.
Nope.
We had pre-apprenticeship at the time. This is before, the 2008, financial collapse and all that.
It was when they were building City Center.
City Center. That's, in fact, my first job was City Center, Rosendin Central Plant.
It's a gnarly one to get
Working
started on.
Working on 4 and 6 inch rigid was one of my first days out there. It's like, here you go. Like,
that's a good intro.
Yeah, big time. So I worked on a lot of conduit, more. It's funny, I worked on more conduit as a pre-apprentice than I did throughout the rest of the apprenticeship, because, we only had mostly solar, and I was doing the, the convention work out at Mandalay Bay, Edlin.
Yeah.
In fact, that's where I first met you, was Mandalay Bay, Edlin.
Yeah, doing a good old show call.
I think it might have been licensing that we were doing. You're apprentice at the time, and I knew, because you had talked to, you had worked with a guy that I knew, I went to the apprenticeship with at Conti, because you were with Conti for a little bit, right? Yeah, so that's where we first met. And then actually right after I met you, I went out to San Jose and worked for a little bit, for a few months out there. Got a little, taste of traveling a little bit.
Yeah. They make big money up in the Bay too, but it's like you're paying state taxes, and then the cost of living is just insane.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that also had to take a couple rips at getting in, and I feel lucky that I just did it on the first one. However, so there's a process to this, people. You fill out an application, leave it in. They want to see your high school transcript, so obviously you have the minimum math requirements. Otherwise, I believe they require you to take some remedial math, just to make sure that you check all the boxes. Then they give you a date to take a test. You take the test. For me, how easy was that for you? Because honestly, when I took that, I was like, 100.
It was easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I didn't do as well as I did. I thought maybe I was going to have to retest, but no, I passed it the first time I took it.
Yeah.
It's a simple aptitude test, reading and math. and you want to complete it within a certain time. And that's where a lot of people mess up, is they take too much time on one answer instead of moving on and then coming back or whatever.
Well, I was 24 when I first started, so I had been out of high school for a bit, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah, same here.
I don't remember trigonometry. Like, oh, no.
A lot of that was like, oh, man, I haven't seen this in a bit. Yeah.
Do you even use that shit, though, or is it all...
Oh, yeah. On the job site, we use it all the time. In fact, growing up, the funny thing I tell people all the time is, oh, you'll never use this when when you're in school. You're never going to use this in the real world. Like all that math, the trigonometry and Pythagorean theorem, we solve when we're bending conduit. It's all trigonometry and figuring out the right angles. You know what I mean? The Pythagorean theorem. So,
lots of math. It's a more simpler math. I mean, it can get complicated when you're planning multiple series of pipes runs, and there's slight variances and things and such.
Yeah.
But so you take the test. They send you a letter telling you that you passed, and they give you an interview date. Now, I got lucky because I met one of our brothers, shout out to Mike Vance, when he was salting for a company that was working at Lowe's. When I was working at Lowe's, salting, for those of you that don't know, is when union workers are allowed under the hall to go work for a non-union contractor. And the whole premise of that is that you go on the job site and tell them about the union to possibly get them to organize.
You got to be like
little electrician spy.
You got to be a salesman.
Pretty much, dude. It's some fucking spy crap, dude.
Like a salesman for the union, almost like recruiting kind of. They want you to kind of like, hey, go out and, try and talk to other people, other non-union electricians, and get them to,
that's your
organize
job.
In basically. Yeah, that's
48 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, while I'm sitting at home now. So we're not going to do that.
And what better natural than have another natural electrician, like-minded, just like Kyle, on the show. Come on now.
We love it. So they gave me my date, and because I knew Mike, he was like, I'll write you a letter. Mike was really, because the thing that I've come to realize is guys don't just write you a letter. Now, I knew him a little bit, but you really need to know somebody, or they need to be family, where somebody's like, I'm going to put my name on the line and vouch for this guy. Right. So I had the letter. And then he also set up an appointment at the hall, and they essentially told me what the interview questions was. So I was like, cool. Him and Mike told me the same thing. They said, when you show up for the interview, come straight from work, don't change, don't wear a suit, none of that shit. Does that sound counterintuitive to you, Derek, when you're going for a big interview to start a career and they're like, don't dress up?
Yeah, I would be concerned. I don't know. I don't like that. That makes me worried. I feel like you got to come like on top of your game, but also they might be going like, you're the working man, so we want you to show up like how you are on the job. So because you're not wearing a fucking suit and tie while doing that shit. So it makes more sense like when you really think about it why they'd want you to do that. So.
Yeah, but like I said, counterintuitive for me, and I was nervous, but I did it. I showed up. Everyone else was wearing suits. They were looking at me like I was combing shit through my hair, because they were like, what? This guy's wearing Dickies and boots and not dressed up. I crushed my interview. I don't know how yours went. It was so awkward because previously they didn't have that bulletproof glass in the front of the JTC, so you could hear other people interviewing and a pin could drop in there.
Yeah, like I said, the first time, I didn't get in the first time. I did one interview, didn't get in, because at the time when I didn't know anybody in the union. I just got in. I was just like, hey, they were like, hey, go sign up for this. I didn't know. I had like got a referral from some guy that my wife met through somebody she was working with at the time, because she was in the dental field. And so I was like, oh, let me check out this electrical thing. I had no desire to ever be an electrician growing up. And it's just kind of like, I was like, what else am I going to do at this point? It was kind of at that time of my life. Another story for another time. So when I signed up, I didn't know anybody, didn't have any family in the union, didn't have the letters. All the letters I did end up getting ended up being on my second interview, and that was through working as a pre-apprentice all those hours.
Made some connections, absolutely.
On the job site, I finally was able to get some letters and was able to get some insight on, hey, this is what you need to say on the interview. Because going into that first interview, I didn't know anything. I mean, even the tools, man. When you bring tools on the job site, they're like, dude, who brought who brought in these tools? It's like I didn't know what tools to buy. I didn't know what Klein's, the best tools and what the brand,
But you
I didn't know
learn
any of
over
that.
time. It's an
You learn
experience-based
the
thing.
hard way. But people, digging into your ass.
Just came with
about,
like a basic hammer and like a drill or something.
dude. Yeah, man. Stuff from Harbor Freight. It was just like, what? What is this?
But the funny thing is you and I are the same in that, right? And I would even say Derek is the same in that, right? In a slightly different fashion, where you and I are mechanical people. We like to work on shit. We like to tinker. We like to know how it works.
Absolutely.
So the electrical work was
Reverse
just a
engineer it.
natural, just a natural thing to do. We weren't both like, I want to be an electrician, but once you start doing it, you're like, I'm good at this shit.
Yeah.
And
from the first day I was on the job site, city center, central plant, I was just like, this is me right here. And I made it a goal from that day on to become an electrician. And I did it.
And it's great. And
because it was more than just another job. It was a real career, and one of the things that we do differently in our line of work, especially in the trades, is we go to work in the same trade, in the same field that we're going to school for. Earn while we learn.
Yep. It's a purpose-built schooling.
Yeah, we have that slogan, earn while you learn. We're going to school and working in the same field. It's not like you're being a barista and you're trying to get a master's in some college somewhere else. Not to knock on college or nothing, but you are going and you're getting that experience as you're going to school. Working in that field. So that's what's great about the trades.
I mean, they over school on the science portion to what you were saying earlier. You won't use this in the field, and it's so true. Like, I wish they would go to a lot more hands-on type shit, even with the entry exam to get in. Like, I'm sorry, if you're letting somebody in and they don't know how to use a drill, it's just amazing to me how some of these guys decide that they're going to do it, and a lot of it has to do with the money. But the point I was trying to round out earlier is like, we are mechanical people. We just naturally gravitated toward this. Derek's had a few different careers. He's worked in sales, but when we started doing this podcast, he fucking dove in head first into the editing, and it's still to this day spends hours and hours hours.
I'm more on the nerd side, you know what I mean? I'll be honest, I'm not good at like building shit and like being a handyman. That was just never my thing. But on the technology side, that's where I fucking geek out.
But the mechanical shit just is not your bag. That's what I'm saying. Is like it's the same in that you found a craft that you were just like, ooh, I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing. I can figure this out. I can get better. And that's the whole point I'm getting at. So, anyways, to bring it back around, another verbal journey from Uncle Kyle. It took me 6 months to get my letter, because after the interview, you're waiting for the letter. I don't know if they were still doing this back when you got in, but when I was getting in, if you got a letter in the regular mail, you did not make it. If you got a certified letter that you had to sign for, you're fucking in like Flynn.
Yep. And then you went through the whole indentureship process. And then they sign you, once you go through that, then they sign you in at the hall, all that. So
I did the swearing in a little late, but it was wild to me, dude, because they did the initial orientation. The old director or assistant director, Buncher, comes in and does the whale shit speech. And then he says...
the whale shit. If you don't know, whale shit is... When you start out as an apprentice, you are at the bottom. So it's just a hypothetical. You are whale shit. You are at the bottom of the ocean, because that's what's at the bottom of the ocean, the whale shit.
They draw a little picture. There's a boat on top of the water, some fishes, a whale, the shit. You are the shit.
Or the bacteria that feeds on the shit. You're at the bottom of the ocean.
So he gives us that speech, and then he goes, if you got to pee, go now, because in 3 hours you're doing a whiz quiz.
Yep.
Fun fact.
They warn people too about this, and people are still...
And he said that, 4 people got up and walked out. I'm like, 1,500 people applied to be a part of this, and you couldn't stop smoking weed, doing drugs. I don't know what kind of drugs were on here.
Hold on. It goes deeper than that. So you want to talk about numbers. They even said, hey, look to your left and your right in the indentureship class, right? Look to your left and right. It's a good chance one or both of those people will not be there at the end of the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And it was true, because both those guys were not there.
Wouldn't you rather those people leave then, though, dude, instead of still doing drugs and trying to manipulate their way into the system? It's rather they just leave. I mean, they shouldn't have got that far anyway.
So I'm going to tell you something, Derek.
Go
When
ahead.
he
'cause
said
I didn't
that-
do anything. I was clean throughout the apprenticeship. I didn't even drink during the apprenticeship.
Good man. I had gotten the letter and I was excited, so I smoked some weed. So on that day, I was about 3 weeks out, which for those of you that know, if you smoke weed, typically the general metric is that's going to be in your system for a month.
Yeah, 30 days or whatever. Yeah.
So I didn't get up and leave, but I was also sitting there sweating bullets like, oh my God, I hope we pass this test. And obviously I did.
They did it right there on the spot.
Yep. They in the bathrooms there. They weren't like watching
At the
us pee,
apprenticeship.
but they do
At
it
the apprenticeship.
right there.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And people didn't. I think they weren't expecting that. Maybe they're gonna send us somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I can go by
possibly.
the store and get a, the thing, whatever.
Why wouldn't you be prepared?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this.
But I knew to be clean because I knew that they were, and even directly after the apprenticeship, after you test for the orientation or whatever, then you got to go out to a job. So you got to stay clean. You know what I mean? Like,
So there's a
and
test
guys-
for the apprenticeship,
Yeah,
and then you always get a pre-employment when you take a
pre-employment,
call.
and sometimes even after pre-employment, now you got to go to a certain job site. Now
then they hit
it's a
you
third
again,
one.
dude.
So it's like you might as well just. It's not worth your whole career. That's why I said, you know what? I'm just gonna stay clean. I'm not gonna mess around because anytime they could pop me on a rando or whatever, and I'm not gonna be prepared. So yeah, it's just better to just stay clean because it's not worth your career, man.
It is, but also they don't.
But once you become a
hammer
journeyman,
people.
dude, you pop a dirty, it's no big deal. You go back to the hall and sign the book again, and you're good. You just whatever.
Even
you might have to
then.
wait a little longer, but you still got your career.
Yeah.
You're as an apprentice, dude. You don't want to be messing around like that. So
It loosened up during my time because there were guys in my class who got popped like
I'm
3
sure.
or 4 times.
Oh, yeah, and they
still
had to go
got
to-
stay in.
but didn't
My
they have
thing
to
though
go
is
to?
like, I'm sorry, dude. We live in a world where like weed is a part of this city. Dude.
It is.
Like, I'm sorry.
It is changing.
Same as fucking drinking. Now, you shouldn't be high and fucked up when you're on the job, but to
No.
just expect people to be clean, it's not possible anymore.
Well, the recreational part is like, yeah, you could smoke, a joint a week ago on the weekend, and you're totally fine when they rando you, random test you. But, you drank the night before and you were fucked up. You're not even really hungover or whatever, but they get you for the weed, not for the alcohol. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that
the
part of it's
reason for that
ridiculous.
is they can't determine
When you
your
smoke.
level of
When-
intoxication
Yeah, no, that's the
at the
problem.
time. And then on top of
figure it
that,
out.
like,
Exactly.
for those of you out there that are in the union, I'm looking at you. I know there's probably the majority of you that smoke weed, guaranteed. People in the union smoke weed. It is. There are ways around drug tests. It's easier to just be a clean boy and be a good boy and stuff, but people do. And to your point, I'm not getting fucked up at work. I don't know who. You might have a boring job and that might apply to you, but in construction, would you ever want to be intoxicated on a work site where you're walking around at any moment, some dipshit could run you over with a forklift or drop something from the ceiling or anything? You got to have your wits about you.
Definitely not, but I mean, it's happening. Like you said, I mean, guys are messed up or, on, conventions, guys are doped up on that stuff,
Yep.
speed or whatever. So it's, it's happening. And then
What?
over at
Wait,
West
hold
Hall,
on, what?
when they, oh dude, yeah, the conventions,
They're all
because those guys
messed
are
out and
working.
shit? Like,
The
what?
conventions,
Dude, the conventions are
they do not drug
notorious.
test.
Oh.
They do
When you
not
take
drug
a
test.
short call
take
where you're
short
working for
calls.
less than 2 weeks, no drug test.
Or
And
even on the long
when you go
calls.
for the steady.
Even when you go for
So
a
how
steady call.
intense is that shit? Like, are they just fucking?
Dude, you got,
just
well,
chat,
it's
like,
mostly, well, you got the electricians. Some guys are probably doing that stuff too, but then you have the
Teamsters.
that are forklift driving and they're doing crazy hours because they're doing all the freight coming in and out of these conventions that are, back to back to back, dude. They're doing, 14 plus hours overnight and,
Oh,
Well, and they
dude,
work
yeah.
on call, so they get hired and fired regularly, so they never get
Yeah,
drug
dude.
tested. So some of these guys are yacked out, just whip on a
Bro.
forklift. I give them a
don't like
fucking big.
that,
I don't like it
dude.
either.
So, I mean, and there was a lady that died, what was it, last January at one of the halls? There was a guy that
What?
was,
Yeah.
I didn't hear
hear
about,
about
that.
that?
Fuck
Oh, my
no.
gosh.
At
So,
LBCC?
LBCC.
Name redacted, I mean.
I'm not sure. I'm sure it is. This is well known. They one of the forklift drivers hauling a scissor lift in front of him and coming around a corner and hit a lady, ran her over. Boom, 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 boom. At first, I heard that she was in a coma for a little bit, and then she ended up dying. So yeah, man. And dude, my first day when I was an apprentice, because I went out in 2010, because at the time it was like, okay, you want to go out to solar, or are you gonna come and stay over here and do these conventions? I was like, dude, I'm gonna do conventions, because at that time there's not a lot of work.
Yeah, and between the two,
to get your
the convention
hours,
is easier work. You're inside.
At least you're doing some electrical work.
And you're going to be fucking working overtime. You'll make more money. Solar just sucks. I'm sorry.
I bought my house and my truck on convention.
Yeah.
Your pay doesn't change regardless, right? So it doesn't matter how easy or hard the job. It's always the fucking same.
Yeah,
it
we
goes
get
by
paid
hours.
a scale.
It goes by hours. Yeah, your pay is going to be the same. It goes by hours. So yeah, if we're dipping into, like you said, overtime, weekends, because we get time and a half on, shows is a little different than construction, but we get time and a half on the Saturdays, double time on Sundays.
Yeah.
And anything out of our normal scope is time and a half. So yeah, and conventions is all hours all the time. So getting a lot of overtime, getting a lot of money working that time on the convention. So
they're just boring to me. It's great. It's great that we have that work. I love that we have negotiated for that and that it's available. It is boring to me. I like to build shit. But quick tangent. Something that I think a lot of people don't know, especially for those that don't live, even probably some people that do live in Vegas, you don't hear about these deaths. It has to be something that's pretty fantastic or disseminated enough to where they have to disclose it. But you really don't hear about a lot of deaths in Vegas, do you? Especially around the strips and casinos. And there is a reason for that, because they bury it. That is not good for business when they do that. I was at the New Orleans.
I'm surprised you guys hadn't heard of that. Especially, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised it didn't make the news and get blown up that way. But being in the union and going around that way, and hey, man, there was a lady that died on.
There was a lot of people that died of unfortunate circumstances when I was working at Fountain Blue, and there was a lot of posters up with Venmos and GoFundMe's, and I always try to put $20 towards that. It's the same thing when we do collections. When I was at Fountain Blue, so I haven't heard almost a year ago, like 9 months ago. But this is before I got in the union. I was at the Orleans. I think I was 22 or 23. I was walking out into the parking lot, and I don't know what made me look up there, but something caught my eye, and I looked at the top of the parking garage, and there was a lady standing on top on the edge of it, and I was like, oh. What? And then I looked around, and I noticed a lot of people were staring up there like, oh, there's a woman up there standing on the edge. Really looks like she's about to, and she jumped off of the parking garage.
You watched this?
Fortunately, I was at an angle where I didn't see the finale, but yes, it was like a train wreck in slow motion, and I couldn't look away. Long story short, she passed away a few days later of the injuries, but I was so blown away that had happened right in front of me that I was like, surely this will be on the news. I looked it up. Nothing.
Yeah, same. I could tell you some crazy stories from that. I worked in the hotel world, dude, and they you'll never hear about a death in a hotel room or anything like that. And there was I'm not going to say the property, but there was a lady, and she was staying in one of the veteran suites, and she wasn't paying her bill, and come to find out, she was like doing like fraud and scams for like 6 figures. So SWAT came because they were looking for her. She had like warrants out for arrest. So this is like during the middle of the day, dude. And there's a reason why Vegas casinos mostly don't have balconies, right? But this place had a balcony. Ooh. And they're slamming on the door, and there's balconies on the backside. Now on the backside, this is where the pool and everything is. She chucks her fucking laptop off the balcony, smacks in the pool area, which is like, you could have just killed someone if that hit them, because it was like 32 floors in the air. Yeah. And then right after the laptop, she goes, my turn. Oh, see ya. And lands right on the slab, right by the pool, right in front of families and people that were just swimming at the pool.
Yeah,
so we had to close the tower down and stuff, but guess what? You never heard of that one either. So yeah, they don't want anyone to know shitty shit that happens at casinos, because this needs to be the fun touristy place.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
We're getting dark here.
I mean, aren't we known as a place known for suicide attention?
Sadly, because of gambling.
People want to come here for
Well, it went from what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas to what happens in Vegas
better stay in Vegas.
Can only happen in Vegas.
Better stay in Vegas.
Better stay here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of things. And not only that, not even just down on the casinos and down in Vegas. There's things that happen on the outskirts of Vegas, out in the deserts. You know what I mean? Like, we've known it for years. The mobs and all that stuff. They know where the bodies are buried out in the deserts and places, dude. Every time they go out and build a new development, they have to, excavate and make sure. Come on. It happens all the time.
Do some amateur archaeology,
Dude.
and the bodies floating in Lake Mead.
Well, you were the
All
you
the
were the
time,
one that
man.
told me about the fun fact of 86, right? You know what 86 stands for, right?
86 what?
You know where the term 86
I don't
comes
think
from.
that's me, so
Okay,
let's
so
hear
I'm going
it.
to tell you the
Oh.
term 86 came from here, because if you're getting 86 from a bar or property, it means we're taking you
Trespass.
8 miles out and 6 feet under. It's a
Oh.
mafia term called
Oh, okay.
86 here, and that is real.
That's pretty fucking gangster.
That's
I
pretty
mean,
8 miles out and 6 feet under.
that
dude.
is thrown around extremely
Yeah.
loosely in today's
Yeah,
society.
correct,
Like,
but that's-
you're out of here. You're 86.
That's originally what it meant, dude.
They
The
are not
mob,
dead,
they were
though.
we're gonna 86 you, and that is what that meant.
Yeah, I had an uncle who worked in the geotech engineering field, and their company would go out and do all types of things, testing concrete and testing, basically construction materials. You know what I mean, to make sure and bring them back to the lab. But every time they went out to these new developments in Vegas on the outskirts of town, they would always have to. Every now and then they find animals, and this and that, and every now and then find a body, that had been there for who knows how long. So they'd have to
I'd
call
be checking
somebody.
the pockets to see if there was a wallet with a little cash
No, I
in
mean,
there.
I mean,
Disintegrates.
most of these bodies are by this time are already fully decomposed.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
man.
It's like the Lake Mead shit, man. When that stuff got
Oh, yeah,
lower,
Lake
dude, they
Mead.
found barrels with bodies in it.
Yeah,
That
Lake
shit is
Mead.
real, dude. There's movies on it, but that shit also was very real.
Yeah, for
I mean,
those of you who
who's
don't
going
know, Lake
fucking diving
Mead,
in Lake Mead?
Lake Mead's water levels have been going down for a long time now, and
there's,
they're
like,
finding
boats,
barrels
too,
and
shit,
boats,
barrels.
and
Yeah, it's cool. It's crazy though.
these barrels, some of them have bodies inside of them. So
You can see rings around the landscape around it, like rings on a bathtub. It is depressing. I haven't gone to Lake Mead in years.
me neither.
I've never been.
Hopefully we don't end up in a Mad Max type situation or like Book of Eli where
It's better to go down. The
water
river.
is a precious resource. I
better-
just want to die quickly.
It's better to go to the river because the river, those levels haven't dropped. They keep those levels. So if you're going to take your boat,
For
your jet
dumping a
skis-
body?
Yes, yes, Kyle. Clip that.
I mean, we were
Short
talking
clip.
about dumping bodies. I didn't know if that's a. Taylor's like,
he's
go
not-
to the river. It'll flow.
I
No
was
one will
spoiled.
find it.
I was spoiled with Lake Tahoe, dude. So I just never even had.
No, we were talking about going to the lake.
going to the lake.
Just going
Having
there.
a good time.
having a good
we
time.
were in a dark place. I kind of stayed there.
We
I'm
were
sorry,
trying to
fellas.
discuss some fucking.
Oh man, that was great. That was great.
So, getting away from the depressing stuff that I was trying to stay in, you put me on to crypto a little bit. I was
Yeah.
familiar with Bitcoin. We have some holdings in XRP. Talk
Yeah.
about that.
So I first got into crypto in 2020. It was right after all the COVID shit started happening and started going to hell. I just kind of saw the writing on the wall, and then actually there was working with a traveler out of Phoenix at the time at the Las Vegas West Hall construction job that I was on at the time. And he kind of turned me on to it. And at first I was like, I saw some stickers. He was talking about it, this and that. And I was like, I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought, oh, internet magic, whatever. I didn't know anything about it. But when he was telling me about it, I didn't want to sound I'm not one of those people who wants to sound stupid and like open my mouth and be like, oh, you're wrong, because I didn't know anything about it. So I was just like, let me look into this and let me study it before I just come in here trying to talk about something I don't know about.
Busting out uninformed opinions.
Yeah,
I fucking
exactly.
love that.
So-
you were trying to learn something so you weren't.
Learn something so I
Looking
wasn't
like a
coming
fucking
out like
idiot.
an ignorant, idiot.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah.
So the thing is more, and I'm the type of person, once I research something, like I go deep into it, like what is this all about? What is the true, meaning or the true aspects of it, And the more I looked into it, it's just like, wow, like crypto is really like financial freedom when you really think about it, in the digital form, because, just like the internet, the internet was the freedom of information, basically. It allowed everybody to just kind of like express their ideas, express, this podcast and do everything, freely. You know what I mean? Because before that, most of the information came from the media, that the legacy media that was established, long ago and it existed at that time, or the newspaper or whatever. So that's what crypto is. Crypto is the internet of money. It's basically, because who controls what money is today? The governments. The governments control the money. But crypto is more of a peer-to-peer, Bitcoin, you, me, everybody, the whole world. And we're all just transacting back and forth together. You know what I mean?
It's not just governments too, it's banks. So that's why banks are pushing back on the crypto shit too.
Right. And they're losing that power. But the thing is they either have to adapt or they're going to, get swallowed up by it, because that's why you got all the, like XRP that's why, Bitcoin is great. It is like gold, basically the digital gold. But we need a payment system that can work for everybody. Because if you're going to be buying, Starbucks and small transactions, you need something that can handle all the world's money.
Yeah, and it's a headache when you're fucking traveling, because like even when I went to the UK, we got a little prepaid card and we loaded on euros and pounds just so we would have the money, because a lot of the places over there will still accept dollars. Yeah. But it just makes it so much easier when you have their currency. But also, why don't we have a common currency where I could just go beep and it's just a standard thing? We don't have to do any math or figure out what the ratio is.
And the thing is there's so many utilities to having crypto, because like, for instance, it's borderless. You can go to the UK. I have my XRP account over there. If you find a place that will transact in that crypto, or it will transfer over to the euro or the pound or whatever you're using in that country, you could easily do that. There's apps that you can do all that stuff with.
If you have a phone, you can convert all that shit all to
whatever currency you want. They make it so easy now, and it's borderless. You don't have to go through 5 different banks to transfer your currency to that currency. There's a lot less friction when it comes to cryptocurrency.
That's what XRP is trying to do too.
That XRP is trying to
be a bridge currency.
Yeah, a bridge currency. If you just type into any search engine that you have, world bridge currency, and the first thing that's going to come up is XRP, and that's their goal. And that's why I was turned on to XRP at first, because not only this traveler I was working with was the one that told me about XRP, because I asked him directly. I'm like, what's the number one currency that you would invest in if you were to drop the money in first? And he said straight up XRP. XRP is the one you want. So that's why I invested in that. Now, of course, there's a lot of critics about XRP and all the lawsuits that have been going on with it lately over the years and stuff like that.
Google this seriously. If you're watching this, Google XRP. Google the SEC lawsuit that they're going through. This has been going on for literally years.
The only thing about XRP though too is I just don't think it's going to become that big of a coin, because you basically said it can't be the gold of a thing. So meaning I don't think the dollar amount is going to boom, because it needs to stay small. Correct. Or you can't do what you're trying to do. You can't be the guy that spent 2 Bitcoins on a Papa John's pizza.
But the whole point being, it is going to grow to where the people who were in initially will make money.
Will make money, but I don't think it's going to skyrocket to like $30,000.
Full transparency, no, and it won't. You can look this up online. It is out there. This is not something that's going to explode like Bitcoin. It's just the concept of it and the utility and what it is going to allow you to do with your everyday life is... It's a big fucking deal.
But that's good for the market overall. The only thing is, like, to some degree, it's going to have to be regulated, because there is too many scams and bullshit that is intertwined with that hurts the real ones that are trying to make change and shit.
So that's what I wanted to bring up earlier. The internet's great. And the main thought that now the world... Because that's the difference between pre-internet and internet. Pre-internet and years ago... There were whole societies that had never interacted. They were unaware of one another. They didn't know each other's cultures and customs. They didn't know the goods they have. They had no fucking idea. The internet connects everybody, and now you have all this knowledge. You could talk to people anywhere in the world. You can learn about them. But also, the flip side of that coin is the internet allows the people who have a lot of money and influence to influence people in mass. It's not a word of mouth thing. It's not a slow burn dissemination. It is boom, it's on the internet, and if I have the means, I can push this to everyone. They will see it. Whether or not it has a desired result, we can try everyone.
You're talking about like the swaying of opinion, popular opinion,
Politics,
Politics,
world
popular
news,
opinion, yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
the shit they're trying to get us to panic about and lose our minds and buy this and do that and be ready for this. It's
right? I mean, even have you heard today? I guess what just dropped today, the news on the TikTok ban. Congress is
Yep.
passing a TikTok
they
ban.
officially
Yep.
did that?
You know, and it's
they
like,
did.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they have a year. They're on the clock. They have 1 year.
I mean, say
to
what you
either
want
sell-
about TikTok, but it's like, well, why are we concentrating? I mean, that is not the most
because there's other
You
shit
know,
that they're hiding,
important
man.
thing-
That's
yeah,
the
man,
problem.
and that's
a
the
fucking-
problem.
It's a sheet over people. You know, that's why it's
like, why are
We're
we
being
concentrating on
data
that?
mined. We're being data mined. Like, that's what I take away from it is I understand there are people out there that make money on TikTok. If you're doing little dances and you're making money, fuck you. I have zero respect for you. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. Any grievances that we want to air to people in the TikTok community? Also,
I don't care one way or the other.
people
but
that eat food in their cars and review it, also fuck you. I don't care if you're on TikTok or not. I hate you. But
It just sucks for certain entertainers and stuff because there's even people I know and friends
And
that
I
have a good following on TikTok,
Yep.
and it does hurt them
Yep.
for like touring and trying to get the word out and stuff.
But in my mind, there are so many other avenues
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you can essentially
There's
do
still
the
other
same
ways.
thing. All of these social media apps are copying each other and like, oh, you have a thing where you do a short form videos. Now we're going to do
let's
that
be real,
too.
dude. There's going to be an Americanized TikTok that comes out shortly.
100 fucking
They're gonna just
percent.
replace it with American fucking version,
Like
and it's
a
just gonna be
Rumble.
the same bullshit. Yeah, but even better. Like it'll catch on. It'll catch fire and be just as big. As
the point is that they want to control everything, like you said.
Correct.
Though.
That's
like,
all it is. It's all
I
control.
mean, just like they do, like you said, the banks have the problem with the crypto. You know, they want to control. They're losing control, and that's where they have a problem with that. You know, but on the flip side of that, though, is a lot of people are still scared to get into crypto because there's not a lot of regulation. There's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of people who are scared because they don't know what to invest in and what to buy and how to buy and do it the right way and to
Look at the
protect
fucking
themselves, you know?
NFTs, Taylor.
Dude.
What the fuck
But
happened
that's
to
what's
those?
hurting crypto's growth, though. Is
Okay.
those are the problems. Is that people
and
don't know.
those
But NFTs, yeah,
are
that's
just
fucking tricky.
wrought with scams.
Well, here's the
They
thing. When you hear the word NFT, you got to ask yourself exactly, not all NFTs are the same. Okay, what is an NFT? It's a non-fungible
Non-fungible
token.
token, yeah.
It's something you can't like split in half. Like Bitcoin, you can split in half and sell it and break it apart and sell it in increments, right? You can't do that with an NFT. It's one singular thing, like a piece of art or something, right? So the thing
But
is, hold on,
didn't they have
hold on, let me finish.
what?
The thing with NFT technology, the technology is great. Okay, it's how people are using it that is the problem. NFT is not just a piece of art on the wall. NFTs can be turned into real estate. It can be turned into jewelry. It could be anything that is an item that is rare, that there is only one of. You know what I mean, or one of whatever. So NFT technology and the crypto blockchain technology behind it is a great thing. But it's how people are using it. They're making monkey NFTs and all this stupid art that doesn't really have value. It's like, what are those other stupid bull runs in history?
Cyberpunk or the punk kids,
Or just like-
cyberpunk kids, some shit, dude.
Or like, remember like in history, like those what was that famous flower that
tulips,
the tulip thing?
tulips,
Exactly. That's what the NFT is
Tulip
right
mania.
now. Tulip
Yep.
mania. It's not that the tulip isn't worth anything. It's just that people overpriced it and just
Inflated it.
inflated it into something way overpriced than what it was. It was way overbought, basically, right?
Yeah.
So when you have a crypto or any kind of product or anything that's overbought, eventually what's going to happen? It's going to come down. You know what I mean? It's not going to stay up at those levels forever.
I love seeing Logan
So-
Paul eat shit on his NFT.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just like crypto. Is every single crypto a great crypto? No.
No, a lot of them.
He
shit.
did-
But is crypto a great technology? Blockchain technology a great technology? Absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
But the problem is, it's the people who are influencing it. It's like,
Yeah. Like you
it's
could create a
scam.
crypto. We could all band together and get a cryptographer together and build the naturals crypto or what.
I
You know what I
wouldn't
mean?
want to
Like,
do that
I'm
unless
just
it
saying it's an example.
because it's like the Logan Paul
did
shit.
that shit.
Leave
He
it in
scammed everybody, and he got away
that
with it.
crypto zoo thing, and
But-
it's just like,
the possibility is there. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I'm just saying you can do it.
All of those
is our
video
crypto-
game streamers had that one called Save the Kids or something that was a big fucking scam. That for you on YouTube, if you want to see somebody who debunks scams, CoffeeZilla. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. CoffeeZilla. You're welcome. Look up CoffeeZilla.
So my point's coming full circle. You want to invest.
I'm gonna fucking mark one up here too because you fucking shut down the cutoff earlier, and I was like, I respect it, but I'm giving myself
I need to have the button on the.
Yeah, or I'm gonna need to wear a shock collar or some shit.
The shock ring, dude. The guest can wear it and just hit you with it, dude. If you try to
Dude, Taylor would murder me with that fucking thing, dude.
I was your foreman. So the point I was trying to make, and why this is all coming full circle to the point I made earlier, you want to invest in cryptos that actually have utility, and real utility. Like, ask yourself, what is this crypto doing for the world? What is this crypto doing for you? Is it saving you money? Is it helping you in any way? Is it going to benefit your life? Because if it's just some stupid little meme coin or NFT that you just invested because some dork on the internet told you, hey, buy this, you know what I mean? It's like the thing is about money, and why the dollar has been so great for so long is because of where it's used everywhere in the world, right? If you could use something everywhere in the world that's borderless, like the dollar, like cryptocurrency, there's one utility. Okay, what else can it be used for? Decentralized applications. In the world, it's decentralized applications and all the decentralized shit that's going on with cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and all the blockchains that it has on its chain. That's what's changing the world right now, and that's what people are investing in.
Ethereum is strong, actually a stronger coin than Bitcoin. Bitcoin just blew up because
of all
it's more stable.
Better,
I
right?
think
It's a more stable.
It's more stable
because of all the chains it has on it.
Yeah.
That's why. Because it became Bitcoin. Its white paper was built different than what that white paper Ethereum is. So that's why, and there's so many chains built on top of the Ethereum platform. That's why Ethereum is blown up to where it is. So
it's like a structure thing. The way that it is built essentially ensures that it's not going to be doing this.
Exactly.
It's just going to kind of
crypto has popped off again too as of recent, dude. It fucking blew up.
But at the same time, Ethereum is still not built to do what XRP can do. Again, when we're talking about like a world bridge currency, and if all the world were to come together and say, hey, let's do something that is universal. It's
I'm gonna break your heart right now, Taylor.
Hold on.
That's never going to fucking happen.
Fuck that, Derek. This is the plea to humanity that we've already done previously.
It's greed. It's government.
No.
Never going to happen.
We already have that. What is the world's SDR right now? It's the dollar.
Not really though. Countries are getting rid of the dollar
right now. Yeah, but for the longest time it was the SDR.
I know,
you go anywhere in the world, the dollar, you could convert it into anything and do whatever you want with it. But what I'm saying is, on the digital realm that we're entering into now, they're going to need a currency that is going to be universal everywhere, a universal currency.
We'll see.
And that's what they're working on.
I hope so. I'm on your side, but I just think the world's and humanity's too corrupt. That's just,
absolutely.
It's going to be a long time till it happens.
Well, you took a negative tip on that one. What I was saying is that what you and I talk about constantly is have some fucking solidarity, people. If we all work together, we don't have to like one another, but if we all work together, we can do great shit.
But if you do a little research on XRP and some of the ties that they have,
well, it seems like they're on the
I don't like the tie to Ashton Kutcher, but other than that, we're
that's just
why you shit on Ashton Kutcher?
Well, he's a celebrity. I'm talking about the ties to the banks and institutions they have around the world. They have over 300 contracts or business.
XRP seems like they're one of the ones that could make it.
The IMF has had them in their document. I mean, there's so much information out there that ties them into them working with other banks and institutions to actually tie this all together and eventually make this all.
Is somebody's
reality.
phone ringing right now?
Might be, man. Sorry about that.
Leave it in.
Thought I had it on.
Leave it in. Okay. Or did you have something else you wanted to say?
No, we're good.
No, he had a good point. So there's in the banks, and it's looking good. I think XRP is definitely one of the coins that can make it. But
I mean, the thing is the bank. The thing is you're not gonna. Who controls all the money still? It's going to be the banks, and those are going to be where the money flows and where the value of money and everything is flowing. It's going to eventually transfer from the old legacy banking system to the digital realm now. And they're not going to just hand it over to like Bitcoin and Ethereum where there's no guarantee. They're going to want something that's going to guarantee their assets and the Nostro Vostro accounts that they have around the world. I don't know if you've heard of Nostro Vostro accounts. It's basically dormant capital that these rich institutions and banks hold around the world that's just kind of sitting dormant, waiting for transactions and waiting for business deals to go through. And the only way that you can transfer that money and make it to where it's a smoother, more frictionless system is turning it into a digital world. And that's what XRP is working towards. They're working with those banks and institutions to solve those problems.
But you're saying,
build those rails,
you're saying
basically.
that fucks with this Nostro Vostro. Where did you hear that? I have never ever heard that before, and now I need to know about it.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably. I'd have to look it up exactly. Just type it in search engine, whatever. Nostro Vostro. They're
Keep
basically.
talking. I'm going to do the work right now.
Do you need to do a burner laptop on that
So,
search, though? I feel like you'll be on some list
The
or
phone's
something.
just going to explode in my hand after I search this.
The normal people
So,
are supposed to know.
Do you know how like the Swift banking
Oh my
system
God,
works?
it popped right up.
Have you ever heard of the Swift banking system? Or, there's other banking institutions around the world. The IMF.
I'm not like super
I
deep
can't-
in it, dude. You're
I-
very knowledgeable
but
on that
yes,
shit, which I
yes,
respect.
yeah.
But I've
Yes.
heard of it.
I don't
but
know a ton of it, but I know what
I've
you're
heard
talking
it.
about.
Yeah, and there's a few others, and I haven't really, done a whole lot of research in this in a while because I've been so busy with my life and work and everything. But there's banking institutions set up around the world that deal with the transfer of money, right?
So just to cut in real quick, I have a quick little definition. It says Nostro and Vostro are accounting terms used to describe the same bank account when one bank has money on deposit from another bank. The term comes from the Latin words nostro, meaning ours, and vostro, meaning yours. I don't fucking like this at all.
Yeah, that makes me very
And it
uncomfortable,
says
dude.
Nostro account versus Vostro account. Nostro, our money on deposit at your bank, account held by our bank in foreign currency at another bank. And then Vostro, your bank on deposit at our bank, account held by a foreign bank in domestic currency at our bank. I fucking hate that.
So yeah, it's basically just banks that are like, okay, let's say you and I were just
Populating.
rich, just billionaires, right? But
I really like this vision that you're cultivating right now, Taylor.
But you're doing business, and you're from Uruguay, and I'm from Mexico. Okay, we're doing business together. You're using the Uruguay peso. I'm using maybe
I don't know
whatever.
if I like this business.
Or let's say I'm in Europe, and we're just using two different currencies. Okay, the old legacy system is we have the two different currencies, but we want to do business with each other. How are we going to transfer our money to, but when we're doing a business transaction in the millions, possibly billions of dollars, okay? The way you do that business is through this Nostro Vostro account, through these banks. My money to your money, my bank to your bank. You know what I mean? We do that transfer. That is an old, slow system. There's a lot of friction behind. There's a lot of energy that they use, and you know what I mean. The old Swift banking system that they use, is old and outdated. You know what I mean. So, how do you fix that? Go digital.
Send me a bunch of bitcoins.
XRP is done within a fraction of a second. You could literally send millions of
We've done it though.
Millions
You
of
put me
yeah.
onto this. We've done it.
And
over
what's the cost of it?
exchange.
The cost is like less than a penny.
Yep.
Dude, it's a fraction of a penny.
Well, it's like
I got
a
the
new
hard
age-
wallet. I got the Faraday bag, so nobody
Right.
can.
It's like the new age money
steal my
transfer.
shit.
What is it, like MoneyGram and all that shit?
So
That's kind
all
of what it is.
all
right?
XRP is
Western Union.
XRP is just the vessel or the conduit from transferring the money from one point A to point B, and then it can automatically transfer it to any currency that you want it in, where there's not all this friction, because a lot of money is lost in that transfer process. Fees have to be paid, all that stuff, and it's slow. Sometimes it takes weeks, and sometimes there's been accounts of those transactions getting lost and have to be redone. So again, the payment system of the world has to be updated. It's like the dinosaur system. It has to be updated, or they're going to lose out. They're going to lose money, and billions of dollars are being lost to these systems. So they have to upgrade.
Cyberpunk 2077, bro. Chips in our heads and fucking.
Sometimes if you have, if you're in a third world country and you have a bank out there and you're trying to get money from one place to another part of the world, you have to go through 3 or 4 different banks to move it. There's a lot of friction, a lot of fees, a lot of shit. Why not go digital? Boom, it's done. XRP. From my place to your place. You know what I mean? There is no Nostro Vostro. There is no my bank, your bank. It's my crypto to your crypto. You are your own bank. That's what crypto, the original design, the original purpose of crypto was to be your own bank.
Yeah.
We don't need the banks are the middleman. I can transfer money to you from me to you without a bank. I can transfer I send you a text message or an email. I should be able to send that money to you without that third man, without that the middleman getting in the way and taking its cut, right?
But also playing devil's advocate, I am the member of a credit union, and they offer a lot of great services. You can get a personal loan.
Absolutely.
You can do car buying for them, and typically they'll give you 1.9%.
Yeah.
There's places already offering loans off crypto, though, Kyle. It's already a thing.
Yeah, they've already allowed the custody of crypto in the U.S. and
but you still have to use an intermediary.
Yeah, there's
a bank has to, but
banks are still going to exist. They're going to still exist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
It'll just be faster processing, but the banks will just be faster, better, improved.
And here's the problem with a lot of really serious crypto people. They're like down with the banks. It's like, no, dude, you got to understand. You're not going to be down with the banks. The banks are still the where the money is, where the capital is flowing through.
You need to work with.
You
the
have
banks.
to work with
the
banks.
Have to hold up their end of that
and
shit.
that's why we have to help change what the banks are doing. The banks are still working off this. The old what do we call it, where they print money,
mint,
the minting process,
treasury,
the treasury, but they use that
dude. I think on
there's
next,
a term there's
I
an
think
actual
the
term.
next punishment is going to be wearing a shock collar and having a guest on, and if you cut them off during the episode, they can give you a fucking zap, dude.
It's called quantitative easing. Have you heard of that term, quantitative easing?
Are you talking about the shock collar shit or banking? Because
banking. I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't know if I'm up for that sport, but we'll get back to it.
I missed that. Say that.
Yeah, you did. No, so we usually always have a punishment for his cutoffs. And I was saying next time he's gonna wear a shock collar and the guest's gonna have the button, and then if he cuts him off, he could just hit him. But
only if that guest is possibly prepared to get beat up, because if that collar doesn't shock me hard enough to
what do you mean? We got the shock ring thing, dude, and you didn't beat up the person that shocked you in the butt, and then they also gave you a little slap, if I remember.
Correct. But that's fine. I submitted to that willingly. She didn't
I wouldn't want to do that to you
hardcore.
anyways. I was just joking, buddy.
Yeah, you just gotta have a hookup right here.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Okay.
We don't really have time. I don't think.
Banking is utterly miserable. So you are also a big hunter, correct?
Yeah.
You do bow hunting, right? You do not typically use rifles. You've even showed me videos of you spear hunting, javelina.
Yeah, so not me spear hunting. There was another guy that we were with he was a little lit that day, and he was throwing a spear in the video. That's pretty funny. Anyway,
I'm gonna get drunk and throw my spear around.
This guy had killed so many javelina with his bow that he decided one day he was going to take his spear and throw the spear. There's this funny video on YouTube. I'd have to show you the link. I don't have it right now. But no, I've been
possibly give that to us.
I could. Yeah, I'll link that to you. Didn't I then, because that's how you saw it, right? Didn't I send it to you a while back, or you saw it?
I think you showed it to me at work.
Or I showed it to you. Okay. So I've been bow hunting since 2010. I got into it around the time I got into apprenticeship, actually, because I met a journeyman that was into it. And
that was when I became a man.
Well, the funny thing is growing up in my background, I was actually in the Boy Scouts and archery. I actually made my own little bow when I was a kid, with sinew and a stick out of the yard of my house and everything. I actually made it,
That's cool.
So I actually was into archery as a kid, and I went through the archery program with the Boy Scouts and got my merit badge and all that. So I always had an interest in archery. And then, years went by, and then when I got in the apprenticeship, I met an individual that was a bow hunter, and he uses the compound, the high-tech compound bows.
Like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. And then, so I was like, man, here, another thing, just like joining the apprenticeship, getting into the hunting. This is me right here, So I started bow hunting, and I also do rifle hunting every now and then too. Like, because the success rate of bow hunting isn't as high. it's like every now and then it's like, okay, let's go out with a rifle because we need some meat. We gotta fill the freezer, you know. But mostly bow hunting, you know, because it's, you know, I like the thrill of it. I like the enjoyment of getting up in there. I've done solo hunt before up in the Ruby Mountains of Nevada.
Do you go like Predator style and put on face paint and camo?
Not the face paint, but no, okay. I have like this kind of like full ghillie suit kind of deal.
Well, and you said you drive up to, because I don't think a lot of people know about this. You pull a tag and it's for a certain area. You drive up there, you scout, you look at the trails, you see the movement.
Yeah, you want to scout an area if you can. I mean, obviously, a lot of, you know, with life and schedule, whatnot, sometimes getting out there scouting the area before is hard to do. Google Maps helps out with that a lot, though.
Yeah.
You know, looking at the area and where you're going to go and where you're going to go, you know, the trails and stuff like that, and kind of plan a route or whatever, which I've done before. But yeah, you want to have an idea, and you can call the local biologist, you know, that they have that works for the Department of Wildlife here in Nevada. You could call that area's biologist and talk to them, see where the herds are of the animal you're hunting, and get an idea, you know, where you got to go for that time of year, and you know what.
How reliable is that information from
very
them?
Very reliable.
Oh, really?
Okay,
that's great.
Yeah,
then.
the one in Utah we had last year. We were doing our cow elk hunt in November, and then later in January that year, he put us right on them. I mean, he knew exactly where they were going to be. So
that's technology.
That's their job, though. I mean, they are public employees, so that's, you know, they go out and they scout. Sometimes a lot of these will go up in the helicopters and, you know, view the areas and see where the herds are, and, you know, collect that information. So
I'd be a fucking cheater, dude. I'd have one of those high-tech drones and I'd go fly over the area and try to like ping them like Call of Duty. If I could have a drone that had a little dart gun that would hit them.
Yeah, that's illegal for the hunters to do, guys. You can't do that.
That is super cheating.
Yeah, some states, and, you know, depending on where you're at, you know, you might be able to do some type of drone stuff maybe before season, but once season's done, you know, going, you can't do that.
That's not fair. That's not sporting. No, if you're like spying them from the sky with your UAV and then you just go up and get them, like that's bullshit. You got to really earn it. I respect that.
Right.
And I think that's the way it should be.
But when you're doing a solo hunt, it's mostly kind of like a spot and stock. You kind of want to get up early in the morning. The animals are still kind of, you know, before the sun fully comes up, they're moving a little bit. You can kind of see where they're going. Sometimes they'll go and lay in bed down. If you see where they go and lay bed down, you can, you know, usually hike up to where they're at or get on them and then try and get them that way.
Oh, you kill them while they're laying down?
If you have a clear shot to get them when they're laying down, but most of the time you're not gonna have a clear shot laying down. Yeah. You would have to spot.
That's kind of dirty pool to me if you're just gonna smoke them while they're laying down. Get up.
Yeah, and the thing is we're pretty ethical when it comes to that kind of stuff. So you want to aim for the heart and the lungs, or the lungs. You know, you want the vitals. Yeah, so usually when they're laying down, especially if they're around a bunch of brush, or most of the time they're underneath a canopy where they like to take shade, or around rocks, you know, where they're hidden and that kind of stuff. So they have a view where they could see everything in front of them. They like to be, you know, in a kind of place where everything's behind them is kind of surrounded. So sometimes they'll be up against a rock face or other trees or bushes or whatever. So you got to get up to an area where you got to kind of sit and wait where they can't see you coming, and also to where once they get up and they get into a position where you can smoke them, and you get that opportunity to get them. Yeah, and it's very tough, you know. It's a very tough thing to do. It's spot and stock and that kind of stuff. It's not easy, especially at the higher elevations. You get up into some of those areas where it's, you know, it's a lot higher. I've been up in the 10,000 range, 10 to 11,000 range.
How satisfying is it to spear an animal with one of those arrows? Because you probably use like the gnarly broadheads that have razor edges on them and little things that flip out.
Yeah. So there's two different types of broadheads. You have your fixed broadhead, which is just a normal blade. They have different types of broadheads now where there's like 3 or 4 blades, but they're fixed. They just stay put. Once you shoot them, they come out. You twist them onto the end of your arrow, and then you shoot them and they kill the animal. They do the job. Have for thousands of years, but they've recently come out
tried and true.
Tried and true.
How'd they figure that shit out thousands of years ago? That's wild, dude.
We could do a fucking seminar on
that's
that.
That's the shit that interests
me.
You know what I mean? That's interesting.
Once they learn fletching and putting the fletching in the aerodynamics of the arrow on the back of the arrow, They learned how to make arrows more accurate.
Yeah, it's interesting, dude, to me.
Somebody was smart enough to figure it out somewhere along the lines. Yeah. That's why spears can only be thrown so far.
Good luck spear hunting. Well,
and rifling. That's why they started rifling bullets, because ball bearing bullets just weren't going as far and not doing the job as much. So. But no, they have these mechanical broadheads now that I think I was telling you about. When they penetrate the flesh, they usually sometimes have like a little rubber band around the end of them, and they stick forward like this. But when in the end of the broadhead, the point of it sticks out a little further. But when that broadhead penetrates the flesh, the wings of the broadhead open up, and those blades all open up, and they just tear into the flesh. In fact, that's how I got the javelina. Javelina I got 2 years ago now. I smoked him at 4, and that arrow went right through him, all the way through him. It was a heart shot.
That's why people think hunters are savages, but ultimately it's like you want to kill them quick.
You want to kill
them quick. I want to go quick. Honestly, if you're gonna kill me, do it quick.
Yeah, and I have some pictures to show for that. And when I smoked, because I did all the field dressing and gutted the animal all myself, the javelina. And I smoked the heart and the back strap. The first thing I did, and you can see where the hole is on the heart when I smoked it. But it was a textbook shot. I mean, you want to kill an animal. I hit him right through the heart. He ran about 10, 15 yards, and it was like a cartoon, man. He said, woo, he spun around in a couple circles and then laid down flat on the side, and he was done. In fact, it was so weird. I thought I missed him because I didn't see my arrow sticking. Because most of the time when you hit an animal, especially javelina, because they're so tough, their hide is like leather, man. They're such tough animals. The arrow's sticking out of them as they're running around, flinging it. And I didn't see that. I was like, what the hell? I thought I missed him. And then when he spun around and then laid down and died, I was like, oh, I got him. And I looked over, and my arrow was sticking out of the ground. And because I put that arrow all the way through him. It went all the way, it was sticking in the dirt.
God damn.
Yeah. Textbook shot. Anybody hunting javelinas or any animal, that would be the shot that you would want. And the animal not running that far.
I don't want to kill anything unless I necessarily have to. But this has been great. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
We're going to post links to a lot of this shit in the description, so look out for that because we touched on a lot of topics. Thank you for coming on, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Love you, brother. That's been Sweet Derek. This is my friend Taylor. I'm Kyle. We'll see you on the next one,
Taylor.
people.
Later, guys. Comment, subscribe.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Naturals Pod. Please remember to follow us on your Twitter and Instagram accounts at the Naturals Pod. Do you have what it takes to join the Natty Nation? Like and subscribe to find out.